Hey guys, good afternoon. It's Coach Jessica, and as promised, I wanted to do a quick video to answer a question that was asked in the group yesterday. It was a really good question. I thought a video would be easier than trying to type it out, and more of you might see the response this way. But the question is, when you're feeling hungry all the time, how do you know when you should eat? Because we already know that some of our hunger that we experience is emotional hunger. And remember, one of the most complicated things about emotional hunger is that it feels like real hunger. Remember, when you experience an emotion like, say, sadness, in your whole life, the way that you have dealt with sadness is to eat. Your brain tries to help you out, and it sends a legitimate actual hunger signal, and your stomach will start growling, and it feels like real hunger. So how do I know whether it is emotional hunger or whether it is an actual nutritional need? Because if you're eating in response to those false hunger signals that are about emotions, you're still not going to have the results that you want. You can say, Jessica, I'm legitimately hungry, and I will say, I believe you. I believe that you feel legitimate hunger, but it's really an emotional need that you have. So it is complicated. So the first thing I'm going to tell you, and this is what makes it even harder, is that you can't say, well, my stomach is growling and I want food, therefore I must be hungry. Your stomach growling does not mean that you have a nutritional need at that time. Again, that is just your brain telling you two things. Either, hey, in order to solve your problem of sadness, you need to eat right now. It's giving you that cue, hey, I want to help you fix your emotional problem in the way that I always have. Or it's your stomach reminding you, you normally eat at this time. So if you're trying to break a nighttime eating habit and you've eaten plenty of food during the day and your stomach still growls at that same time that you eat at night, it doesn't mean that you need to eat more food at that time. It just is your stomach saying, hey, you forgot something. It's your body signaling, hey, it's like ringing a dinner bell. So I like to do a simple kind of just test for myself, and a lot of people like the simplicity of this thing. I like to think of the most boring, not tasty food that I can that is nutritionally dense. And I would make a suggestion of plain boiled eggs. Now, I like boiled eggs. They're good. Again, nutritionally dense, really great, naturally has ketogenic macros. But when I feel this intense hunger, stomach growling, I want to eat, I ask myself, would a boiled egg meet my needs right now? Is that okay? Would eating a boiled egg meet my need that I have right now? And if I'm like, no, I really want something that tastes has a certain flavor, or that's crunchy, or that's sweet. If I'm wanting something different, something that, like, it's like a boiled egg's not going to do it for me, it's not real hunger. There's another need that needs to be met, and I need to explore that further. Or it's my stomach telling me, hey, this is when you normally eat, even though I know I've had plenty of food. And the reason that this works is because when you have a real hunger need, any real nutritionally dense food will meet that need. Picture the person who is lost in the wilderness or in the woods for 2 days, and they are starving. They're legitimately so hungry. Can you imagine you're lost, and you're like foraging around, and you're trying to find anything that's edible, and there's nothing. And you come out on the other side of those woods or the other side of the wilderness, and there's a person standing there, and they offer you boiled eggs. Do you think there's any chance you're going to turn that down? No, you're going to say, thank goodness, this will meet my need because I have legitimate hunger. And I think that's a good way to sort of figure out, is this legitimate hunger, or is this emotional hunger? Emotional hunger creates cravings for food, but cravings typically want something specific. Real hunger is satisfied by the most simple, plain, nutrient-dense food. So that's a really good, easy way to look at that. And let's see, what else? The other thing with emotional hunger is you have to say, or the question that I ask myself is, if I hadn't felt a certain way, been around a certain person, seen food on TV, smelled food cooking, if none of those things had occurred, would I be wanting food right now? So tracing your eating back to, or tracing that desire for food back to something that happened, like I saw food on TV, I passed a billboard, I smelled someone cooking bacon. If it weren't for that, you would not be thinking about eating right now. Then that is also not a legitimate need to eat. So if you can nail what your trigger is, or I had an exhausting day at work and now I'm hungry, even though I've already eaten plenty of food today. So the last thing I'm going to say about hunger is this. If you ask yourself that question and you've had a couple meals, 3 meals, whatever, and the answer is yes, I would eat boiled eggs right now, then that is legitimate hunger. But here's the next thing to ask yourself. Why do I need this many meals in a day? It is not normal or natural to eat many times throughout the day. That is something that we just started doing in recent history. What that means is you're not eating enough good, filling, nutrient-dense food, protein and fat, basically, when you do eat. And so what you would want to do is, if you're having hunger throughout the day, or if you're having hunger between meals, you need to say, I can eat more food, but I need to slide it and group it into smaller groupings of food. It's not about eating less. It's literally about saying, if I eat, here's a good rule of thumb. If I eat and then I get hungry again before 4 hours, I didn't eat enough food. So I need to look at my portions and eat more in that time. And again, remember, the name of the game here is insulin. Insulin tells your body, it's the hormone in your body that tells you to store fat. Every time you eat, you're creating an insulin reaction. So if you look at a 24-hour period, think about your own day and say, how many times did I eat something? A handful of nuts, a handful of pork rinds. Each one of those times, I told my body to stop burning fat and start storing fat. And I know there were times in my weight loss journey where I had to ask myself that question, like, yes, I want to eat something. I want to have a cheese stick. But do I want to go into fat storage mode instead and leave fat burning mode? And most of the times I would say, you know what, I want to keep on burning fat. I don't want to stop eating. I don't want to store fat. And so I would say, I can have that cheese stick, or I can have those pork rinds, or whatever it is, but I'm going to have them with my meal. It's not deprivation. It's saying I'm going to group my food, I'm going to group my eating into a maximum of 3 times a day and within a certain amount of time, because when you do that, you are minimizing the number of times that you have an insulin reaction and you go into fat storage mode, and you maximize the hours in the day that you are in fat burning mode, and especially those times when you are in uninterrupted fat burning mode, which is why I recommend a window that is small. So anyway, I hope that clears up some things. Feel free to ask questions about this video when it comes to that, but just remember, your stomach growling, wanting food, thinking about food, those things don't mean that you necessarily have a nutritional need. And if you're someone who's eating well, you're eating on plan and you're not getting results, it may just be because you're eating when you don't need to eat. Or it could be because you're spreading your food in these little grazing moments throughout the day, and you're having, it's like your blood sugar goes up, and then your body floods you with insulin and tells you to store fat. And by the time that insulin goes back down and you go back into fat burning mode, you're eating again. So you're constantly keeping yourself in fat storage mode. So again, I just hope that you get sort of a visual for that, and I hope that helps you make some decisions about when to eat and when not to eat. So hope y'all have a good day. Looking forward to a great call tomorrow morning at 10 a.m., and I will see you then. Bye. Thanks.